who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges. Not only are these concepts new, they are also extremely dangerous.
And tonight, the Ghana Bar Association taking on President Akufo Addo for taking undue advantage of the 2023 Bar Conference and turning it into a campaign platform when he told Ghanaians to vote against John Mahama in the upcoming general elections.
The only aspect I have a little concern about is going ahead to urge people to more or less vote against him on that. I don't think that it was proper for him to use the platform for that, because condemning what President Mahama said, many more people have already done it.
We have the latest, and we're live in Cape Coast, where the Attorney General says former President John Mahama is ill-informed about the processes of appointing judges.
For one to express the desire to appoint mainly members of one's political party to the judiciary, if given the mandate to govern the nation again, clearly indicates an unfamiliarity with the process of appointment of judges.
And top story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together, I am Blessed Sogah, and tonight the Ghana Bar Association is taking on President Akufo Addo, citing him for taking undue advantage of the 2023 Bar Conference and turning the platform into a campaign one when he told Ghanaians to vote against former President John Dramani Mahama in the upcoming general elections in 2024. Well, earlier today, the president chose to settle scores with John Mahama, who had claimed a couple of days ago that he, President Akufo Addo, was parking the courts with judges supposedly aligned with the governing side, which is the New Patriotic Party. Well, according to John Mahama, he intends to balance the courts once he's elected into office. First, listen to the former President John Mahama make these claims.
The current president has done. He's appointed the biggest number of judges onto the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. And so all manner of people who are known to have been partisan, to have been executives of their party, who are in the legal profession, are being leapfrogged into the superior courts and other places. And so we must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench so that we can balance out, the judicial.
Well, the very comments by John Dramani Mahama, which is stoking debates, and just when the opportunity presented itself at the 2023 Bar Conference, which is underway in the Central Region, President Akufo Addo minced no words in leading the onslaught against former President John Mahama, describing his comments as irresponsible and also dangerous.
In the overwhelming number of justices designate to the Supreme Court, that approval has been given on a bipartisan basis. You can count on the fingers of a hand the number of justices designate whose approval meant less than unanimous consent. I've gone into this matter in some detail because of a new concept that has been recently introduced into our public discourse by no less a public figure than the fourth president of the Fourth Republic, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges. Not only are these concepts of, quote, MPP and, quote, NDC judges new in our public discourse, they are also extremely dangerous and represent the most brazen attack on the independence of the judiciary by an allegedly responsible politician of the Fourth Republic. They provide another reason, if more were needed, why right-thinking citizens should ensure the defeat in 2024 of the man whom the first special prosecutor identified as government official number one in the still unresolved Airbus bribery scandal.
And these very statements were made by the president in Cape Coast, where my colleague Richard Kojinyako is joining us from, monitoring, of course, that 2023 bar conference. And Richard, the next speaker to take on the former president after these comments were made was the Attorney General and, of course, Minister for Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. We'll be getting more from Richard Kojinyako shortly, who's also, of course, monitored the entire proceedings for today. But listen to the Attorney General also come after the President to make and reinforce the statement by the President that the comments by the former President John Dramani Mahama are founded.
For one to express the desire to appoint mainly members of one's political party to the judiciary, if given the mandate to govern the nation again, clearly indicates an unfamiliarity with the process of appointment of judges. Whilst acknowledging the constitutional duty to the President to appoint all judges in the country, it is imperative to note that the President does not appoint judges to any court in a vacuum or in that regard. Each appointment onto the judiciary is preceded first by an indication of a vacancy by the Judicial Council. Without a vacancy, the President cannot appoint. We cannot in this regard rule out the coincidence of situations. If a vacancy arises, it falls for whichever president is in office to formally fill same by appointing after the exhaustion of all constitutionally mandated procedures. Thus, the notion that the president can just appoint any number of judges that he desires in order to neutralize, in quotes, the perceived acceleration of the judiciary is incorrect and grossly misleading. Further, the participation of the Judicial Council as well as the Council of State and Parliament, where necessary, in the processes of appointing a judge stipulated in Article 144 of the Constitution cannot be ignored. The President also does not have the power to empanel any court in the country. Respectfully, a consequence of the government's policy to expand and improve infrastructure of the judiciary through the construction of over 100 high court buildings around the country and the Court of Appeal complex in Kumasi, which has 24-bedroom bungalows, has been the need to appoint and post judges to some of these courts. It may well be that the criticism the sitting president enjoys or receives from certain quarters for the alleged appointment of many judges to the Superior Court is a price the government is paying for improving access to justice and improving judicial infrastructure. It has perhaps become necessary to examine critically the number of appointments made onto the highest court of Ghana, the Supreme Court, since 2009. The record shows 7 appointments to fill 7 vacancies on the Supreme Court between 2009 and 2016. I take note that there have been 15 appointments to the Supreme Court between 2018 and 2023. However, a careful scrutiny of those appointments shows that they actually filled only 6 vacancies. Positions held by Justices Mafusi, Lena Megache, Professor Kote, and Clemens Honiega, all of them being appointees of President Akufo Addo, became vacant in the course of the same president on account of either death or retirement. And indeed, another justice appointed by President Akufo Addo will also retire this year, Justice Mariam Owusu. With such vacancies, fresh appointments have to be made. It is important that we remain resolute in our defense of the judiciary at all times. Ghana has gained a worldwide reputation for its justice system and legal services. The justice system, of which the bar is an integral part, is the glue that holds the society together. Decisions of our superior courts are cited in cases in other jurisdictions. Our courts are recognized throughout the world for their excellence, openness to innovate. For those who cannot come to terms with significant defeats in the courts of law, it ought to be understood that the courts administer justice according to law. The court, as I always say, is not a mercy chamber to serve justice based on affection or sympathy.
And This very invitation by the Attorney General was, first of all, honored by the Ghana Bar Association's Yao Boafo Champon, who's the president of the group, describing, the comments of the former president as baseless in terms of the appointments to the bench, which is being made in consideration to party affiliation. Richard Kojinyako also monitored that speech by the president of the Ghana Bar Association. He's joining us now. Richard, first of all, the position of the bar on the statements by John Dramani Mahama.
Well, so their position was that comment shouldn't have come from someone who has been the president of the country. They feel that it was not properly placed, and so it was almost irresponsible comment. And so that is what the position of the Ghana Bar Association is. But I have been interacting with some of them, and they equally also say that the comment by the president was also unfortunate, and this was not the right platform for the president to have campaigned, quote unquote, for the NPP. And so that is what the position of the Ghana Bar Association has been.
It is worrisome when members of the Ghana Bar Association itself join the chorus of ignorant partisan populists to denigrate the image of the legal profession and judiciary. Why should we allow politics to divide us? Why should we subject ourselves to the dictates and wishes of politicians and sacrifice the nobility of our profession on the altar of divisive partisan politics? Last year, we were told that unanimous judgments mean that there is no scholarship and independence of thought in judicial reasoning. And in the process, Supreme Court judges were referred to in derogatory terms as unanimous SC. We even had the immediate past Chief Justice being described as the worst Chief Justice ever, and that lawyers of a particular political tradition were discriminated against when they appeared before judges. As if that was not enough, this year, we are being told that the requirement to be appointed to the District Court bench, the Circuit Court bench, the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court is by being a member of the political party in power, and that this policy will be replicated in the event of a change in government.
So that's the initial position of the Ghana Bar Association. However, they are equally concerned about the statements of the president when he decided to take undue advantage, in their view, of the 2023 Bar Conference to ask Ghanaians to vote against John Dramani Mahama, PRO for the Ghana Bar Association, right after the statements were made, clarify their position.
President Akufo Addo also said, even though he said President Mahama didn't do well and all that, I admit, fine, that was all. But the only aspect I have a little concern about is going ahead to urge people to more or less vote against him on that. I don't think that it was proper for him to use the platform for that, because condemning what President Mahama said, many more people have already done it. The Ghana Bar Association too has done it, but to go ahead to say that because of what he said, people should more or less vote against him. I think that, to me, amounted to doing some political campaign on our platform, which to me is not acceptable.
And many legal brains within the National Democratic Congress are beginning to react to the comments by the President, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, lashing out at John Dramani Mahama, the NDC's candidate going into the 2024 elections. Mr. Amaliba, thank you for your time. He is Abraham Amaliba, former Director of Legal Affairs for the party. And you've been also listening into the statements of the President when he says that John Mahama's pronouncements against the court could even create the grounds for which Ghanaians should vote him out. You might lose the 2024 elections if the calls by the president are heeded. Hello, Mr. Maliba. It appears we've lost Abraham Amaliba, who's the former Director of Legal Affairs for the National Democratic Congress, joining us. Lawyer Amaliba, if you can hear me, I was just talking about the statements by the President, the point that you might lose the 2024 elections if Ghanaians indeed go with the opinion of the President. Lawyer Amaliba, can you hear me? we're having some challenges connecting with lawyer Abraham Amaliba there. Probably some network challenges that we're having there. I'm sure that we'll just rework the lines and try as much as possible to hear him a bit more clearly. But for those of you who missed out on that, the Ghana Bar Association also raising similar concerns with what it is that former president, the President Nana Addo Akufo Addo has said, and also raising concerns about the President's statement which was made today. The fact that John Dramani Mahama should be voted out of power simply because of his comments against the judiciary.
In the overwhelming number of justices designate to the Supreme Court, that approval has been given on a bipartisan basis. You can count on the fingers of a hand the number of justices designate whose approval meant less than unanimous consent. I've gone into this matter in some detail because of a new concept that has been recently introduced into our public discourse by no less a public figure than the fourth president of the Fourth Republic, the perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who has told the world that I have packed the courts with so-called MPP judges, and that one of the key purposes of a putative NDC victory in 2024 will be to enable him balance the courts with so-called NDC judges.
And fortunately, lawyer Abraham Amaliba is joining us back on the telephone lines now. Lawyer, your concerns about the statements made by the President? Hear me? The comments the President was making earlier today, I'm just asking if you have any initial reactions to this. We seem to be having some challenges connecting with lawyer Abraham Amaliba, who's the former Director of Legal Affairs for the National Democratic Congress, also pointing out what his concerns are, which we'll be bringing to you shortly. But we'll also, of course, get some more reactions on Newsnight, which is coming up shortly. We take a quick break. When we return, we'll tell you why the NDC is not enthused about the statement.
Ever visited a shop, picked a whole basket of provisions, toiletries, and very essential things you need, battled a long queue to finally pay, only to be told you can't pay to a merchant number? The way that thing they pay, but with Vodafone Cash, there is no problem. Now on Vodafone Cash, you can pay all merchants on all networks. Easy peasy. Aye straight. Aye direct. Aye sharp. From your Vodafone Cash wallet to any merchant number on other networks. So whether you are buying provisions or fuel, medication or food, whatever the service or need, just pay conveniently from Vodafone Cash to any merchant number. Simply dial *110# to make payment to merchants on other networks today.
Vodafone. Welcome to Belmonte, where luxury meets comfort. If you're in the market for a home that combines class, convenience, and comfort, then look no further than Belmonte. Belmonte is located in the prime East Legon area of Lagos Avenue. The Belmonte stylish apartment offers first-class luxury and cutting-edge finishing. Whether you are looking for an executive studio suite or a cozy one-bedroom apartment, a spacious two-bedroom apartment, or a custom villa, we have you covered. But that's not all. Belmonte offers a range of top-notch facilities to relax and keep you entertained. So why wait? Take the first step towards your dream home. Sign up for our 3-year payment plan and own your property today. Contact us at 0204 343 011 or 0204 343 015 to learn more. Belmonte is developed by CPL Developers.
This is my fight song. Take back my life.
Ever wondered about the magic behind your favorite apps? How about the
Welcome to Tema, the industrial gem of Ghana. Attention all dreamers, investors and home seekers. Mark your calendar for the next clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Imagine waking up to stunning waterfront views, basking in the warmth sun and embracing the comfort of a home perfectly tailored to your needs. Discover a range of housing options that cater to every budget and lifestyle. From sleek contemporary designs to elegant traditional architecture, the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair has it all. But wait, there's more. This fair isn't just about buying a home, it's also about enhancing the spaces we live in. Get financial solutions to acquire furniture for that beautiful home, electronic devices, and more. Our dedicated team of real estate experts and banking partners are here to guide you every step of the way, making your journey to home ownership smooth and stress-free. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to make your dreams come true. Join us at the 10th edition of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, where possibilities are limitless.
The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and the Planned City Extension Project, Rent to Own, and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estate, where dreams are built. Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investment. Visit cliftonghana.com today. The Kensington Heights, Airport City, by HDG Homes Limited, a new benchmark in luxury living in Kumasi. Visit thekensingtonheights.com. Virtual Security Africa, complete security solutions. DBS Roofing, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. And Saint Gobain Weber Jiproc Chloroplace Isover, making the world a better home.
And thanks for staying with us here on Top Story on Joy 99.7 FM. For those of you who missed the earlier sound by the president, the Ghana Bar Association is raising issues with the president for asking Ghanaians to vote against John Mahama in the upcoming 2024 general elections, when, of course, he had the opportunity to address the 2023 Bar Conference. The background to this is John Mahama had claimed a couple of days ago that the courts were being packed by judges supposedly aligned with the governing NPP. Richard Konyako is still with us. He's monitored the entire proceeding for today. Richard, any comments from the Chief Justice on this?
Well, so for the Chief Justice, he used the symbolic elephant and then indicated that the elephants, people have various perceptions, and when they come face to face with the elephant, some feel that the elephant is a ball. Others also may feel that the elephant is a cow. Others may also feel that it is something else. But it behooves all of us to join in making the judiciary work. He says that the integrity that people have been clamoring for depend on every one of the people that have gathered there. And so that is what the Chief Justice has been saying. He has been calling on them to be extremely professional to safeguard the interest of the judiciary.
That's Richard Kujinyako. Richard, thanks for the update and the perspective we're getting from the courts now. Let's speak to lawyer Abraham Maliba, former director of legal affairs for the NDC. Lawyer Maliba, the president says your candidate should be voted against simply because he's speaking against the courts. Lawyer Maliba, I hope you can hear me. And you'd have to unmute if you're to make the points with us on Zoom. We'll be getting Lawyer Maliba for you shortly. Let's also get the perspective of the Ghana Bar Association. Xavier Kuja, who's with us, he speaks for the Ghana Bar Association. And Mr. Kuja, now that you've made your points clear that the president should not have turned, the Bar as a conference into a campaign platform, are you likely to issue a statement or perhaps write to the president expressing your displeasure about this development?
I don't think so, because the statements would have been circulated through a medium like yours. So once he's granted interviews to media houses, I think that clears the air. Because as I said in the afternoon, it's rather unfortunate that it happened. We never invited him to come and campaign, but to make statements such as vote against former president and linking him to supposed allegations about Airbus and all that, that was not what is expected. And we don't accept that. We are not going to allow anybody, no matter the person, who the person is, to use our platform to campaign for his party.
But when you invited the president, obviously you should expect, knowing that these are matters topical in the news, that the president was indeed going to comment on it.
No, there was no way anybody should expect us to know this. You send an invite to a guest with your team. You don't have, you are not part of the speech writers of the guest. You don't have the opportunity to preview the speech of the guest. How then could you have known that he was coming to say this? Because it would really be out of line to say that a guest should let you have his speech in advance. No. So I think that you have to be fair to us. We never invited him to come and campaign, but unfortunately it happened. But we are condemning that. Yes, he was right in condemning President Mahama for making such statement about appointment to the bench. We earlier condemned that. But for him to go ahead to say that based on that and other factors, it should be voted against, I think that is totally unacceptable and condemn it.
But are you not shooting yourselves in the foot when on one leg we find the Bar Association condemn equally former President John Dramani Mahama, and then we find your group again taking on President Akufo Addo?
Yes, the difference is this. The statement made by President Mahama relative to the alleged packing of the court by President Akufo Addo with people he described, President Mahama described as MPP aligned judges, is about the institution of the judiciary, which whether he's in opposition or he's sitting as a president, he'll have to respect because they are democratic institutions. Here is a case where, and when the President Akufo Addo condemns him, we support him on that. But to say that because of that, he's going to make, he actually has tried to make capital out of political capital out of it by urging people to vote against President Mahama. That is what we don't like. That is not in sync with us. That must be condemned. He should have ended up at the condemnation on what President Mahama said about the judicial point. That would have been excellent. But to go beyond that point, urging people to vote against him, just because of that, and even importing issues about investigations on the alleged Airbus scandal, no, we are not going to allow that. Not today, not tomorrow.
Okay. Lawyer Maliba is still with us. Counsel, can you hear us now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Apologies for that technical hiccup there, but your brief comments as we wrap up.
I think that the Bar Conference has become a political jamboree for MPP-inclined lawyers and state officials, including the president, to attack NDC-inclined lawyers and its leadership. The NDC lawyers pay dues to the Ghana Bar Association. The Bar uses the dues to organize a program, such as the Bar Conference, which is a non-political platform, and allow MPP-inclined lawyers, together with the president, to use that platform and attack leadership of the NDC, including the lawyers. And I think the Bar should take the fall for this. The Bar has misconducted itself for far too long in these matters, and I think that I don't want to be charitable at all. The responses they gave to former President Mahama, look at the two. Former President Mahama used a political platform, NDC lawyers, we didn't run away from it, to make comments and requested that lawyers of the NDC should join the bench. Why would the Bar be the one to be given platform to the president for that for him to respond to the former president? And I think that the Bar has failed, and they must begin to do a U-turn and ensure that what the Bar stood for is what this current Bar will do.
And I'm grateful, gentlemen. We've run out of time, unfortunately. That's it for Top Story. Next is Newsline.
today's cash out just got way better. Our enhanced early, partial, and auto cash out feature lets you cash out your bet out early. Cash out a portion of your ongoing bets, or even set your bets to cash out automatically. All this to give you way more control over every thrilling bet you place. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Betway. Get way more.
Live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra, and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. This is Newsnight. Coming up in this edition, Western Regional Security Council puts the spotlight on STA at SAM's Enterprise as it sets up a 9-member committee to investigate the cause of the Kobina Andokrom quarry explosion that killed 5 people on Saturday.
We also want to establish whether the company was up to speed with its own safety guidelines and licensing that they are supposed to go through. And we also would like to know whether the company had authorization to store those explosives.
Also tonight, Minerals Commission says the activities of the company was illegal following its preliminary checks on the company plus its operations.
The person or the enterprise did not have all the necessary documentation approvals to do this kind of thing. I mean, if my inspectors are telling me that it is the same place that the people were living, nobody would have permitted that. If this happened, it is because it is an illegal operation.
We bring you live updates from the area. Also, President Akufo Addo fights back claims he's a clearing agent as he insists he will only act with due process when allegations of corruption are made against his appointees.
None of the accountability institutions of state, including the new Office of Special Prosecutor, have ever indicated any pressure from the executive. There are some who refuse to accept my method of proceeding and have characterized me as a clearing agent.
We have details from the bar conference where the association has been demanding the swift passage of the Code of Conduct for Public Officers Bill.
The GBA looks forward to the swift passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, which we believe will ensure and instill a culture of accountability and integrity amongst public officers.
Also tonight, former President Mahama describes the Supreme Court's inability to set a date to hear an interlocutory injunction against the Electoral Commission as an act that will erode public confidence in the justice delivery system. We'll get to hear from the EC, which says it has no intention of creating additional centres for the limited registration exercise, which starts tomorrow.
The discussions and the analysis we've done, we are very much convinced that Ghanaians who want to register and take part in the district level election this year, and those who also want to register in 2024 and they are already 18, they will come in their numbers to come and register.
We have details of that also in business.
Ghana reaffirms commitment to meet all convergence criteria required to roll out West African single currency, ECO.
And in sports, French star Paul Pogba faces up to 4-year ban from football after failing a drug test. We'll bring you details shortly.
And as IGP Dr. George Akufo Addo prepares to face his accusers tomorrow in plot to oust him, Chairman of Parliament's ad hoc committee assures the committee will be fair and firm.
Grave allegations have been made against him. But we won't sit down for the IGP to be disgraced and insulted without giving him a hearing.
What if the IGP does not show up?
Oh, I do not believe he will disrespect the Constitution.
And he has a scripture ahead of the scheduled in-camera hearing for all the witnesses.
I want to say to everybody that you shall not lay a false charge against your neighbor. It's part of the 10 Commandments. Do not, in the name of power, wealth, any other consideration, lie in material particular against your neighbor. It has spiritual consequences.
That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. Please do all to join us with your thoughts and comment via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. I am Emefa Apawu. We are live also on Facebook, X Spaces and myjoyonline.com. You can tweet at us with a hashtag Newsnight. Many thanks for your company. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Let's get updates on this weekend's explosion in Kobna and Okrom. Well, tonight we're learning that the Western Regional Security Council has launched a formal investigation into the activities of STA at Sams Enterprise following that tragic quarry explosion that claimed the lives of 5 individuals on Saturday. The quarry site in question was being operated by a Chinese company which had reportedly not completed the necessary processes to legally conduct quarry operations. Well, the council chaired by the Western Regional Minister Kwabena Ochredako Mensah tasked the investigative committee to look into the dealings of the company and unravel the cause of this particular explosion. We'll get to hear from him shortly, but first, listen to the Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, Martin Ayisi, who, after inspecting the explosion site, admitted that the company was operating without proper documentation.
What is illegal is illegal. It's as simple as that. It's like this Galamsey site. It's an illegal site. When you pick intelligence, what do? You go there and try to stop them. If you need security help, you provide them. So the person or the enterprise did not have all the necessary documentation approvals to do this kind of thing. Because if it was a properly permitted activity, we don't. I mean, how do you store whatever led to, if I can call it explosives for now, whatever led to the explosion? I mean, if my inspectors are telling me that it is the same place that the people were living, nobody will have permitted that. Because in the first way, Ubeye Bibisa now say you be inspecting site to tell you cannot store it here, you cannot store it here, you can store it here. We have to do the magazine. You have to inspect, permit it, what type of explosives, all those things. The law is quite strict on that. So if this happened, it is because it is an illegal operation. But at least I take pride in the fact that the inspectors came to stop them, that they cannot do it. And then maybe they outsmarted them and all those. And then they have a very effective Sound Winners Inquiry Association in time that work with the police and the commission. So I don't know whether that's why they were doing things in the night or whatever. We can't tell. As I said, the full investigations will come. At least for now, as far as our records are concerned, they are not permitted.
Well, that's Martin Ayisi, CEO of the Minerals Commission. We can hear from the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, Kwabena Kokofu, says they are in the process of prosecuting mining companies who have flouted environmental laws.
Environmental Protection Agency permits come with what we call schedule, and in the schedules there are conditions. All these are what are flouted day in and day out. Once we catch you, we have to apply maybe administrative sanctions and possibly put before the court of law. And that's what I said. We are in the process of getting some more companies arraigned before court for having flouted environmental rules and regulations. People in Ghana assume environmental crime and offenses as victimless, so they can carry it out and without any shred of fear and all that. That perception is true and it must be changed. Environmental offenses and crimes, people get victimized when and after the harm has already been done.
Well, we'll get to hear from members of the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament on this. They have actually fingered the EPA and the Minerals Commission for negligence in this, and that they ought to be sanctioned as well. But let me take you to the region, and thankfully we're privileged to be joined on the phone by the Western Regional Minister himself, Mr. Kwabena Ochredako Mensah. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. So I know you've set up a committee. We'll get into it, but rather sad situation that we witnessed on Saturday. First off, what would you say is the latest per your briefings as we speak this evening?
The latest is that 5 people died, and then we have 5 at the hospital. That's the latest. The other issue is that we've also gotten some visitation from EPA and Minerals Commission, and then we have also set up the committee to investigate, one, the circumstances surrounding what had happened. Because you know that the Regional Security Council is basically responsible for life and property. So when such things happen, it's our responsibility to investigate and see the circumstances that has led to this. So we put together a rep from the RCC, the EPA, the Minerals Commission, the police, fire service, and then NADMO, and then we have the assemblyman also included on the committee. So that's the latest we have, and then in the next 3 weeks we expect the report to be out, so that the various agencies that need to play a key role in making sure this doesn't happen again are sorted out.
And your team is confident that 3 weeks is enough for this committee to unravel all that led to this particular explosion?
Yes, because you know that preliminary, the Minerals Commission had made it clear that they have not issued a license to them. And then, two, if you look at the report they represented to us, and based on the information I got yesterday when I visited the site, I believe that when we add the investigation that is going on, we should be able to unravel it in the shortest possible time.
But ahead of that, were you surprised to hear that this particular company had not completed the necessary processes to actually be conducting quarry operations in the area?
You know that place used to be an old quarry, which has been bought by another person. So I was surprised that they have not completed their process.
And so this is a matter of investigation as well, that the 9-member committee will be taking a look at. Is that the case?
Yes, and then I think that the other thing is that this is an offsite. It's not a mine in a community. And I believe that is why we also didn't suffer a lot of losses.
Okay. But we are told that the 3 Chinese nationals who are supposed to be in charge of this particular company cannot be found. Is it the case that something may have happened to them, or they're actually on the run? What are we establishing?
I suspect they're on the run. But we should wait for the investigation complete.
And are we looking for them? What exactly are the measures in place?
Yes, the police are looking for them. The BNI is also looking for them, and NID, as we call them today.
But what would residents be looking out for such that they can help in finding these nationals who are on the run? Pictures
I think that
exactly?
Those that are come into contact with them prior will even be the best persons to identify them when they see them anywhere. So definitely they'll be giving some clues to the police to assist them in the investigation and also apprehend the culprit.
But what's the status of the 5 who are getting medical attention? I'm not talking about the site even yet. We'll talk about the site, but I'm talking about the 5 persons who are getting medical attention as we speak. What's their status?
One of them is in critical condition, but the rest will believe that they are fine.
Well, but the site, since you brought it up as well, you say it's been closed permanently?
Yes, please. Yes.
But residents who may have been displaced, I don't know, I'm sure we've heard that some of the residents were displaced. Are we getting attention for them? What exactly is the plan?
The Minerals Commission was in. They have offered to support whatever dislocation or any property that has been damaged or something. They have offered to offer immediate support to such people and property.
Well, we're grateful and we're looking out for this. But really, from the Regional Security Council meeting that was held earlier, would you say there were some major concerns really for the council when it comes to this particular, incident? Okay. Ms. Ochidako, can you hear me? Okay, it appears that we don't have Kwabnochi Dako, but let me bring in the NADMO director, the Shama District Director of NADMO, Michael Nyan. At least he's also been leading this particular rescue operation, search operation in the area following this quarry. Well, so Mr. Nyan, thank you so much for joining us here on Newsnight. So it's well over 40 hours searching for survivors and injured. Would you say that has ended officially?
Oh, it has not been ended officially still. We have missing 3 Chinese nationals, so we are searching for these people. So we haven't finished yet until we find those bodies or those persons.
These 3 Chinese nationals, NADMO is of the view that they are not on the run. They may have been trapped under the rubble. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because the HR manager of the company has tried their numbers and it is not going. any means of trapping them, it's not available. So automatically, they have been trapped. So we are looking for their bodies, and if we found them alive, then we thank God.
And how long will this search continue, you'd say?
Until we find them. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, you search for them.
And you're ruling out the possibility that they could be on the run?
It's 30%. You see, the probability of getting them alive is less than 30%. It's even less than 30%, because when you come and see how the devastator for the area, you'll be amazed. So probability of getting them alive, my sister, I'm afraid.
Well, but Mr. Nyan, in terms of survivors and those who've been displaced as a result of the explosion, how is NADMO coping with the situation?
The survivors?
Exactly, and those who have been displaced as a result.
Okay, you see, survivors, are we talking about the injured one or those who didn't have any injured, but they are safe?
Exactly. They don't have anywhere to be.
Okay. As for that, they are in charge of they are in the hands of their company. But the NADMO with the MCE or DCE and my regional director is putting their heads together and come out with something. Because as I'm speaking to you now, NADMO Shama District, we don't have anything in our store. So if any case, we have to contact our regional director to see how best he can come to the aid of NADMO at Shama, so that we too can assist the surviving ones.
But how come Shama District NADMO, you have nothing in your store? Why?
For that, my sister, you have to talk it later. Let's talk it later.
Okay.
We don't have it, so I can't do anything about it. Simply, we don't have it.
For how long? For how long have you had nothing in your store?
It's been a while.
So then how do you operate at that level?
Sometimes when it's happening like that, we fall on the region, and the region, if region has something, they will give us something. If they don't have, they also fall on national, and if national have, they also give them something. I could remember last year we had with disaster at one of the communities. It was my national director who brought relief items from Accra, straight from Accra. So that is it.
That's a rather sad situation for Shama, isn't it?
Oh, it's not only Shama. I hope so.
Okay.
But we are managing.
Okay, Mr. Nyan. So if you are managing, then how are the survivors going to manage as well? Do you have anything?
That's why I've told you that for that one, the managers of the company, they have to, and as I've told you earlier, yesterday this issue came up. So my DCE and my regional director of NADMO put their heads together, and I think by the end of today or tomorrow, there's something positive will come out.
Okay, but on these Chinese nationals and the search for them, have we had any assistance whatsoever from the Chinese embassy to help find their nationals? Have they reached out in any way, you'd say?
Yes, today we had, when we had the search, we had some Chinese persons. So when we contact them, they say they are from a Chinese embassy in Ghana. They have heard the news, so they are coming there themselves to check. So they came. I took them around, and they were in a hurry, so they joined their car, and that is the end.
And they left?
They left.
Okay. Well, Mr. Nyan, I will stay in touch with you on this particular situation. Wish you all the best in the rescue mission. We are grateful. That's the Shama District Director of NADMO, Michael Nyan there. Earlier, we also heard from the Western Regional Minister, Kwabena Ochre-Darko Mensah. You're still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM. You are in the Shama area and you want to reach out to us, you can do that via WhatsApp is 055-1111997 on all our social media platforms. Also, you can post your comments there. We'll harvest them shortly. But let's do some other stories now. And President Akufo Addo is tonight fighting back accusations that he's a clearing agent who has been clearing his appointees of corruption. The NDC in particular have accused the president of failing to deal with allegations of corruption made against his appointees. But speaking at the Bar Conference in Cape Coast today, the president argued he would only act against his appointees when there are concrete evidence against them.
None of the accountability institutions of state, including the new Office of Special Prosecutor, have ever indicated any pressure from the executive over their investigations. There are some who refuse to accept my method of proceeding and have characterized me as a clearing agent. Nation of the public official. For my part, I will not set aside due process corruption, no matter how much opprobrium this incurs for me. With a clear understanding that corruption thrives conduct its in concealment, and that access to information is a vital tool in the fight against corruption.
Well, so that's President Akufo Addo. Meanwhile, President of the Ghana Bar Association, Yao Boafo Echampong, says government must stop paying lip service to the Code of Public Officers Bill and get it passed immediately.
The GBA looks forward to the swift passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, which we believe will ensure and instill a culture of accountability and integrity amongst public officers. We call on government and parliament to prioritize and work closely together in making it a reality. Enough of the lip service. Mr. President, the GBA will remind you of a public undertaking in December 2016, following your election as the 5th president of the Fourth Republic thus. If your goal in coming into government is to enrich yourself, then don't come. Go to the private sector. Public service is going to be exactly that, public service. This undertaking gave hope to Ghanaians of the emergence of a new dawn of politics. However, it is our respectful duty to corruption-related incidents involving some of your appointees and also amongst some public officers under your administration, and the largely lethargic manner with which they are dealt with and even defended and protected leaves a lot to be desired.
We know that earlier issues about the judiciary came up. The Chief Justice herself raised concerns about it. Also, we had the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, also in, and that's what we've been talking about on Top Story. But thankfully, the issue about illegal mining also came up, and Yao Boafo Echampong wants government to go after the big names involved in the activities.
The harmful effects of galamsey are all around us. They are ubiquitous, for which we cannot gloss over. Lands for the cultivation of staple food and cash crops have been affected. The Pediatric Society of Ghana, in a recent statement by its president, Dr. John A. Appiah, has established from studies how the galamsey menace is contributing to deaths among children, as well as cognitive defects which affect their school performance and suspected to cause congenital malformations. Despite the efforts and assurance of government to deal with the menace, there appeared to be a general consensus that not much has been done to effectively and roundly deal with it. The GBA holds the view that a lot more can be done to effectively deal with the menace that poses a threat to our survival, especially in this period of climate change concerns. We call on government, political leadership, and key stakeholders to show more political will and integrity in decisively dealing with the galamsey menace. This can be done if the real powers behind the galamsey menace are identified and dealt with in accordance with law.
Well, my colleague Richard Kojunyako is back in the Central Region for the Bar Conference 2023. Richard, I'll start off from the illegal mining note, the address by the President on this. What would you say was the reaction?
Well, so largely a lot of people applauded this particular comment. Consensus-wise, they feel that nothing much has been achieved in terms of the illegal mining. And the comment by the president of the Ghana Bar Association indicated that those who are in the pit, in our water bodies, those who are engaged in the activity, they are not the ones that they should go after. But there are powerful political forces, people that are highly connected. They are the ones that the state institutions, the people that have been clothed with powers, they ought to go after these people. Once they're able to take a decisive step towards arresting and bringing these people to book, the minutes of Galamsey will be over.
Well, but it's just day one of the week-long bar conference, and it's been a fiery day. What else did we miss, you'd say?
Well, so there were other reactions to what the president has been saying. In fact, I met lawyer Chris Akume, who has been describing the president's comment as very unfortunate. He feels that the platform that the GBA gave the president was not utilized very well, because the president essentially and the attorney general used the occasion for some partisan political comment that ended up campaigning for the MPP, and they feel that the president should have acted better.
And that's my colleague Richard Kodunyako reporting from the bar conference in the central region. And in the next 24 hours, Ghana's IGP, Dr. George Akufo Addo, will face persons who have been accused of plotting to remove him in a leaked tape, which is now a subject of investigation by Parliament Ad Hoc Committee. Ahead of the in-camera hearing, chairman of the 7-member committee, which has so far had testimonies from Chief Bugri Nabu, Superintendent Emmanuel Eric JB, COP George Alexander Mensah, and Superintendent George Asare, says equal opportunity will be given to all sides. Here are excerpts of my conversation with him on the Probe on the Joy News channel.
On Tuesday, all the individuals who had done what I would call the preliminary talking on oath will come back with their lawyers.
Chief Bugri Nabu, COP Alex,
yes.
George Mensah,
yes.
Emmanuel JB,
yes.
George Asare.
Sure, the 4 of them. They should come back with their lawyers. And also, the most prominent person whose name is being bandied about, the IGP himself. So the IGP himself should also come with his lawyers.
On Tuesday?
On Tuesday.
An invitation has been sent to him already?
We've sent every invitation to all those who matter. We're giving them all the videos that we have transcribed on paper. You're giving the transcription to them. We've also done what is very, very needful. All the proceedings captured so far, we've given it to them. So that they will know who said what and who said what before they appear before us.
Why specifically do you need the IGP in all this? Really?
Well, because grave allegations have been made against him. Grave, of serious consequences. And I kept telling people that the committee is not the forum to appoint an IGP. That's the first instance. And we do not have malice aforethought against the IGP. The IGP's distraction is no benefit to the committee. But we won't sit down for the IGP to be disgraced and insulted without giving him a hearing.
But by inviting him to, does it not hurt the institution, the Ghana Police Service, and all?
No.
That's the thought of some people.
Well, that is very banal, because you see, if we give the IGP the opportunity to hallow his name, then that is the way democracy should go.
But his image, the reason why you are inviting him, we heard all that in public.
Yes.
Now you're giving him the opportunity to hallow his name in camera.
Yes, because of what we consider as national security consideration. If it becomes very necessary to let the IGP speak to the cameras, why not? I'm saying that...
At what point will it become necessary? Because most of the allegations were made in public.
Well...
It's out there already.
Well... The allegations have been made, some serious allegations have been made in public, but the substance of the allegations have not been made in public. That is to say, the evidential support for those allegations, what we are going to unearth. So which, piece of evidence should we give to the public that will not hurt national security? We'll exercise that discretion.
Okay, so this Tuesday will be the final leg, or it would...
Well, we'll see how it pans out, but it's going to be a very serious engagement because all of them will be seated.
What if the IGP does not show up?
Oh, I do not believe he will disrespect the Constitution. You see, his appointment is premised on the Constitution. And therefore, if there's a constitutional undertaking that he should respect, I don't believe anybody, even his lawyers, will advise him that disrespect a committee of parliament. Mind you, it's like the committee of parliament is an extension of the parliament. And if you can bring ministers of the executive to be interrogated in parliament and quizzed, why would the IGP say I'm above the Constitution? So I credit him with a lot of soundness. He's one person I respect also. I mean, he's not a little man, if you look at his credentials. So I don't believe it will come there and the IGP will say that I am not going to come to the parliament when he has the whole opportunity to hallow his name.
Will it be a wholesale approach, sort of, that will have all the other 4 witnesses there, whilst the IGP is also interrogated by the committee?
There is
separate.
There is nothing more ennobling to face your accusers. There's nothing which is redemptive. That, oh, this is what you were saying about this man. This man is going to say something about it. He goes on to put his case across. If you believe he should be cross-examined, you should cross-examine him. He's here physically. I do not see anything which is so helpful to the system and the establishment, and even to the media and the general public, than to give an opportunity for people who are making very serious allegations to repeat the allegations before the most prominent person in the center of this activity, the IGP. And you also have the opportunity to ask them questions.
Okay.
And they will glean meaning and substance from the, if you like, the crossfire, if you want to call it that way.
How long will we be shut out from this whole process?
Well,
the public as a media, we're all interested. How long are you going to shut us out?
Well, maybe let's give ourselves about 3 hours of a shutout, depending on, lawyers could also be very laborious and tedious in the way they want to present their matters. And we'll see. But I think when is necessary for the public to come into the space, why not? The public will come to the space. And when it is frightening that what is ongoing is not good for national security, we have to shut the public out.
That's Chairman of Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee, Samuel Atachia, there, giving us the modalities for Tuesday, and the IGP is expected to be in that particular in-camera hearing together with the other 4 who have already given their testimonies to the committee. He's also been established in the terms of reference of the committee, 6 of them, and he's been raising concerns about the concerns that have been raised by people as to why they are still going ahead when indeed the authenticity of the leaked audio recording has been established already. So amongst others, they are also to investigate the conspiracy to remove the current IGP. They are also to investigate any other matter contained in the audio recording, recommend sanctions for persons found culpable where appropriate, and also make recommendations for reforms where necessary, and then make such other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee might deem fit. Let's touch base with Alfred Papadakwa, his lawyer for Superintendent George Asare. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsnight. Your team ready for the crossfire tomorrow?
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners. Yes, I think we have been given the entire proceedings of the committee. We have also been given a transcript of the audio. We have what we have now, which we think is very important. So tomorrow we will be ready. We have not been told how the modalities would be, but we are open to whatever that comes.
When you talk about the audio that you have, because we are learning also that there's another audio before the committee, do you have both, or is still the one that is in the public domain?
No, we've gone beyond that. We've gone beyond that. I mean, we have a comprehensive one. So
okay. Well, but from your camp, at least, you've been listening to the chairman. You are talking about the modalities. We are told that you all get to face the man that the accusations have been leveled against, which is the IGP, amidst the issues about the interdiction and reversal of the interdiction. From what you've spoken to Superintendent George Asare, he's ready to face his boss?
He's ready to testify. I always do not want us to personalize it. He's ready to testify. There are certain allegations that were made. Unfortunately, some of these things ought to have been made in camera, but these things, sometimes the way it goes, you cannot control the emotions of the witnesses. So by the time you say Jack, some things have already been said in the public domain. And this time around, he's going to give further and better particulars of some of the things that he alluded to. So hopefully tomorrow is going to be a showdown.
It will be a showdown. No fear of intimidation at all, you would say.
Where we've gotten to, the police service, by their suspension of the interdiction. If you look at the letter that they gave out, they put out that they have suspended the interdiction pending the completion of the parliamentary hearing. It means that, they have already determined that after completion they are going to proceed with interdiction. So as it is now, we are determined to prove our case. The witness is determined to say give evidence to what some of the things that he said. So with regard to intimidation, I don't think there's a turning back now. There's no turning back now. You drink deep or it tastes not.
Well, we look forward to that showdown tomorrow then. We wish you all the best. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, sure.
That's
Thank
Alfred Papa Dakwa. He's lawyer for Superintendent George Asari. Beverly Broom is here in the studios with business. Of course, you don't have any showdown for me. Do you? Okay, what's in business, Beverly?
Welcome to the Business News on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal. Coming up tonight, Ghana reaffirms commitment to meet all convergence criteria required to roll out West African single currency ECO. Also, Ghana Hotels Association petitions Speaker of Parliament over what they say is unfair treatment from the PURC in increasing water and electricity tariffs. We have details after this break.
It's the best season of the year. Just in some points, Momo Pay or you say Momo app. Send with ease and win big. You be merchant or you be Momo user. Momo season Abanti send the BBR. Send the BBR. Momo season Abanti send the BBR.
From now till the end of September, earn points when you download the Momo app and make Momo Pay transactions to a merchant via either the QR code or merchant ID and stand the chance of winning 1,000 Ghana cedis weekly and other amazing prizes. Our merchants are not left out. Receive payment and win. There are lots and lots of exciting prizes to be won. So download the Momo app, transact with Momo Pay and get rewarded this Momo season. TNCs apply.
MTN. Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's Back to School promotion is here with us once again. From the 4th of September to the 31st of October 2023, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10% to 15% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and so much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takoradi, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stock lasts. For more information, call us on 0302 764 101 or 0302 764 209 or email info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Luxurious affordable living is your right, and no one understands it better than BOT Properties. BOT Properties specializes in modern residential buildings and commercial office spaces. Our properties include the Equator, a 12-story made up of over 100 apartments near Accra Mall. Other Equator courts, we offer you the deluxe living experience with our top-of-the-range homes, high-quality homes built with style and precision to suit your lifestyle. The Equator Courts is a gated community with 2 2-story, 4-bedroom detached houses at Ogbojo, East Legon, near American House. Our office complexes include Zion House, Shiashi, East Legon, Zion House, Sofa Line Interchange, Kumasi. Our offices and apartments are for both rental and outright purchases at affordable prices and with flexible payment terms. Kindly contact us on 0257 960 919 or visit botproperties.com. BOT Properties, the new meaning of affordable luxury.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project, or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a year strong, a year tough.
Media Sambisanda mo. Eti emrati no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodompe mo mana yakono. Eye kwabna. Na mumu hwan so na tumi tasmale me ma yene nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodompe mo sense o yi super accident eba. Ayede yan ban ne do braye. Bo si eti na mo ho ban na sem mana hoode ne. Sa ani na kojo so yi super accident chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo. Yeah. President Eba and a President Charcoal. Afedie. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadion Katuyatu.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do business now. And the government has assured that it is working to return the country to economic stability in order to meet all the convergence criteria for the implementation of the common currency, ECO. The ECO currency was originally scheduled to come into circulation in 2020, but was suspended due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic and rescheduled to 2027. Speaking at the official opening of the 53rd Technical Committee of the West African Monetary Zone meeting in Accra, Chief Director at the Ministry of Finance, who spoke on behalf of the Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, assured that Ghana is still on course for the West African Single Currency Project expected.
We are determined to stay inflation back within the medium-term target of 8 plus 2%. Distinguished delegates, let me take this opportunity to reaffirm Ghana's commitment to the ECOWAS Single Currency Project. Despite our recent economic challenges, Ghana's performance on the harmonized convergence criteria has always been above average. We assure you that these challenges will be reversed and sustained economic stability re-established. I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to all the distinguished delegates of the Technical Committee for the collaboration and support during these critical periods.
Eva Mens is the Chief Director at the Ministry of Finance. Meanwhile, economist Professor Peter Quarry is of the view that most West African countries will not be able to meet the convergence criteria by 2027 for the rollout of the single currency ECO.
I think we should tread cautiously with this ECO. In as much as it will lead to trade, it will lead to reduction in cost of transacting across the continent or the sub-region. I think we are far from reaching that target and therefore ought to be cautious. We heard from the meeting that not many have been able to even meet the primary convergence criteria. And in fact, since this discussion started, no single country, to the best of my knowledge, has been able to meet the primary convergence criteria consistently for 3 years. So it's something that, yes, it is good, but let's tread cautiously.
economist Professor Peter Quarry there. Now, GCB Bank says the Ghanaian banking industry is recovering from the negative impact of the domestic debt exchange program. Speaking to Joy Business after co-organizing a golf competition with the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Deputy Managing Director in charge of operations at GCB Bank, Emmanuel Odate Lamte, said GCB Bank will maintain its solid brand identity that will enable the bank deliver results for customers and shareholders.
I think the banking sector have seen solid growth after post-DDEP. At the end of last year, obviously, banks posted losses. But post the DDEP, we've seen a balance sheet of banks expand. In fact, the banking opportunities in our country remains very high. And as we all know, banks play a very critical role in the economic development of the country. And GCB over the past 7 decades has contributed immensely by supporting governments in terms of revenue collections. Clients are able to pay their taxes through our branches and through our digital channels.
Now, the Ghana Hotels Association has petitioned the Speaker of Parliament over what it describes as unfair treatment by the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. According to the association, the PURC has unfairly increased water and electricity tariffs for its members, making it difficult for them to operate. Dr. Edward Akanyamika Jr. is the president of the Ghana Hotels Association. He explains the reasons behind the petition.
First of all, to get the PURC to revert the 167% tariff increase for water for February, March, April, and May. Secondly, we also want the Speaker to seek justification from the PURC on why they have migrated hotels from the non-residential category to the commercial category. And thirdly, we also want the Speaker to get the PURC to ensure that there is proper stakeholder engagement in future discussion on tariffs.
On that note, we end Business on Newsnight, brought to you by MTN, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tank, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal. Emefa, over to you.
Hello, Beverly. I'll see you on TV soon.
Right.
And have a good evening. Well, let's do some of your messages, and then we'll bring in Musbao with the latest from the world of sport. And this one from Nana Equiamwa Boating in Ablekuma Central. It says, indeed, President couldn't have said it better as he did. We have bastardized the executives, parliament, and other state institutions. And now John Mahama is leading the crusade to bring down our judiciary to the low level. Ghanaians will not give JM the chance to stack our judiciary with NDC. Stock, okay, with NDC members. Well, we have this one also. Okay, I'm not getting that from you, Senna. And we have one from Musa Abatwa in Aswase. And he says, any serious country won't tolerate such conduct from these police officers and their attitude to do not conform to professionalism. They are disgruntled police officers and their conduct are similar. Okay, well, so that's the Musa Abatwa, your message. We have one also, NADMO offices across the country are all drawing salaries for no work done. Their stores are all empty to the bone. You didn't add any name to this one. And the GBA's president, there's another one from Sami in Kumasi. The GBA's president has spoken well, but my only wish wishes are that he appeals his appeal concerning illegal mining leading to wanton destruction of the vegetation is giving attention by those whose duty it is to terminate the activities of illegal mining. Sami in Kumasi, well received. Thank you so much for your message. And we have this one also from Issa Tamimu in Boko. It says the Ghana Bar Association has now turned itself as an NPP affiliate organ. The reason for making the conference a campaign ground, President Akufo Addo and other NPP officials tend to attack President Mahama. Well, we've been hearing from Xavier Kuje, who speaks for the Ghana Bar Association, on condemning the use of their platform for any political activities. Well, the GBA loud against government when NDC is in power and virtually quiet when NPP is in power, with even worse things happening. That's Frank in Accra, your message. I have one from Lincoln in Akwetiman. President Akufo Addo is still campaigning against JDM after imposing hardship in the country. That's your question. And more of the messages, I'm still going through some of them, but let me bring in Musbao, latest from the world of sport. Hello, Musbao.
Hello, Emefa. Well, of course, over the weekend, we all woke up to the news that our
probably most popular boxer, Freezy McBones. Freezy McBones lost his bout to a Senegalese boxer in the ongoing Olympic Games qualification happening in Senegal. And he's been speaking for the very first time, and he says, well, he's not perturbed by the criticisms that he has received, and he's focused on the upcoming qualification bouts, and he's hoping that he'll make it for the Olympic Games.
Never not freezing. I always aggressive and go forward and get the win. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, in the focus we say, and yet then no sometimes he comes with empty-handed. You know, so this time if I come home with empty-handed, and it's so funny, like this is something that was so put my mind onto it, because this is for Africa Championship, right? And this also at the end of the competition, you're gonna win gold. So it's not overhyped, but like I said, people have a title to say whatever they want to say. So that is their own problem.
Yep.
Freezy
McBones. He dropped one proverb there. I'm not sure if you got it. He said, "It's not always that a hunter goes into the forest and comes home with meat." So so this time it was instead. But another, this time football star is in the news, and very troubling time for him. Paul Pogba. Well, he has tested positive in a standard doping test following Juventus' recent Serie A match against Udinese, and according to the authorities, the Juventus midfielder was subjected to the test following the opening day game, which ended 3-0 for the Turin side. Now, the French player did not play a single minute of the match, but was still required to take the test, and it is reported there were elevated levels of testosterone. Now, the 30-year-old, who has played just 52 minutes for the Juventus, is so far this campaign was looking to bounce back after suffering through an injury-plagued season last time out. Now, if the reports are confirmed, we understand that the player will be suspended as a precautionary measure and will have 3 days to request a second look at the tests. Now, the ban for doping could be up to 2 years, though it could also be extended to 4 years if it is proven that he indeed did it on purpose. So that's a very turbulent time for Paul Pogba. But in tennis, of course, the Coco Gauff is the name on the lips of everybody at the moment. 19-year-old Coco Gauff, who made history for herself. Well, she's been paying tribute to Serena Williams and sister Venus Williams following her triumph. And the teen, of course, recovered from a set down to defeat Aryna Sabalenka 2-6, 6-3, 6-2 to win her first Grand Slam of her career. And of course, she followed in the legendary footsteps of the Williams sisters as she became the 14th American woman in the Open era to win the US Open. And she's also the first American teenager since Serena Williams to be crowned champion at the Flushing Meadows. Now, during her post-match press conference, she credited the legendary sibling duo for overcoming adversity and paving the way for the next generation of black tennis players.
I mean, they're the reason why I have this trophy today. To be honest, they've allowed me to believe in this dream. Growing up, there wasn't too many just black tennis players dominating the sport. It was literally, at that time when I was younger, it was just them that I can remember, and obviously more came because of their legacy, so it made the dream more believable. But all the things that they had to go through, they made it easier for someone like me to do this. You look back at the history with the Indian Wells, with Serena, all she had to go through, Venus fighting for equal pay. It's just like, it's crazy, and it's an honor to be in that kind of lineup and as them, and I'm looking at it.
So that's Coco Gauff there. Well, finally, let me leave you with Novak Djokovic. And after becoming, some say he is at the moment the greatest tennis player of all time as far as the men's single is concerned. 24 Grand Slam titles. Is he going to retire? Is Djokovic going to retire? That was the question to him, and this was his response.
Yeah, occasionally asking myself, why do I need this still at this stage after all I've done? How long do I want to keep going? I do have these questions in my head, of course. But knowing that I play at such a high level still and I win the biggest tournaments in a sport, I don't want to get rid of this sport, or I don't want to leave this sport if I'm still at the top, if I'm still playing the way I'm playing.
That's Novak Djokovic there, at the moment the greatest tennis player of all time, 24 Grand Slam titles. That's incredible, really incredible for him. And great. Well, that's it for sports. Of course, tomorrow the Black Stars have a friendly game against Liberia at the Crash Sports Stadium. 4 p.m. is the time. You can flash through there. No, there are tickets available, so just go online and get some tickets for yourself. Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Every smile
matters.
Thank you very much, Musbao. Now, former President John Dramani Mahama has described the Supreme Court's inability to set a date to hear an interlocutory injunction against the Electoral Commission as an act that will erode public confidence in the justice delivery system. The opposition NDC, 5 other bodies and individuals have filed suit in court to stop the exercise, arguing the EC's decision to restrict the upcoming limited registration exercise to its 268 district offices will disenfranchise many voters, especially those living far from the district offices. After filing the case at the registry of the Supreme Court on Thursday, 7 September, the court is yet to set a date to hear the matter. The former president has issued a statement on this development. My colleague James Aveji joins me in studio with details of it. What more has he been saying?
Yes, Emefa. So he said, contrary to the time-bound practice of the registrar of the Supreme Court giving dates for applications to be moved, the registrar has, as of this afternoon, refused to provide a date for the application for interlocutory injunction filed against the Electoral Commission in relation to the Commission's decision to limit the upcoming voter registration exercise to its district offices only. This, he said, is unprecedented and does not augur well for public confidence in the justice delivery system. He went ahead to cite an instance in 2012 when a Ghanaian citizen decided to challenge the creation of the 45 new constituencies. He said the Supreme Court was quick in determining that very matter, cited other instances where the Supreme Court was actually timely in setting date to look at those issues. He concluded that, quote, the EC starts the lopsided registration exercise tomorrow, for which this process is being filed, and yet we all know the famous mantra, justice delayed is justice denied.
Thank you very much, James. Well, meanwhile, the Electoral Commission says he has no intention of creating additional centres for the limited registration exercise, which starts tomorrow. We can hear from the Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Asari. He says steps have been taken to capture all eligible voters.
If there is any institution that is committed to ensuring that all eligible Ghanaians register to vote, that will be the Electoral Commission. And what the Electoral Commission is saying is that registration at the district level will achieve our objective of ensuring a very credible register. The EC is an institution of the state. We roll this out. If there are challenges, we'll go back to the drawing board. But currently, the discussions and the analysis we've done, we are very much convinced that Ghanaians who want to register and take part in the district level elections this year, and those who also want to register in 2024 and they are already 18, they will come in their numbers to come and register. But if we receive information contrary to that, the issue will go back to the drawing board. We are there for the good people of this country. But currently, on the basis of the evidence we have, we are convinced that registering at the district level will ensure the integrity of our register, and Ghanaians will also come up in their numbers.
That's Dr. Bosman Asari, and the exercise starts tomorrow. And just before we go, we've been commemorating Suicide Prevention Day yesterday, and we're focusing on the 23-year-old medical student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She survived 7 suicidal attempts. Emmanuel Bright-Kwiku has been interacting with her.
The good in me, I didn't see my worth, so I said, why don't I just end it?
It all began when she moved from her preclinical studies to the more demanding clinical years at the medical school. The feeling of inferiority and the overwhelming academic load nearly pushed her to end it all. Yamansa, as I choose to call her, survived 7 suicide attempts.
School was quite competitive. I wasn't doing well. People were going far ahead of me, so I felt there was no way that I would do as well as they would. and I just kept harboring the feelings and kept growing the feelings of me never going to make it so well.
Hers was to make people within her circle understand the troubles she endured.
At that point, I just wanted everything to end. I wanted to harm myself also, so that people would see that what I was going through was more painful than what they are seeing. I also just wanted to end things and be free because I was going through too much.
Her story mirrors that of many victims of suicidal attempts across the country, especially tertiary students. As a fourth leading cause of deaths, suicide remains a global health concern, claiming more than 800,000 lives annually worldwide. Dr. Ruth Entry is president of the Psychiatry Association of Ghana.
Out of the over 800,000 people that die by suicide yearly, and so people should be more caring. People should not stigmatize again people who are going through mental health challenges. When you see someone change in attitude, when you see someone withdrawn, we should quickly pick the sign and get close to them rather than being judgmental.
Seeking mental health support is however plagued with a myriad of resource deficits affecting patient care. Yamansa says the inadequate human resource and infrastructure stifles access to confidential care.
Because of the space that we have, the small size of the departments, you have one doctor, one patient here, and then right beside another person, so there's not much confidentiality. It would really help if the medication is always available and is also subsidized.
Together, let's create hope through action. Always talk to somebody if you need help. Problem shared is half solved already. Suicide should never be the option. And that's how we end today's edition of Newsnight. I am Emefa Apawu.